go. We got a lot to do. We got a lot to talk about. And that's what we do around here. So, the way it goes down on a Monday, hour one, we look local. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a person or persons of interest or a hot topic. And so we're on point. We're on the trajectory for that. As you know, our phone lines are always open on my show. On my show, you get a call, agree, disagree, whatever it is, bring it. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. That is the week. That is the number all week long. And I'm here 6 to 9 Pacific Standard Time every time. And we're streaming on YouTube at youtube.com at KBLA 1580. We're always streaming. We're always uh, in the conversation, in the comments. Man, KBLA delegation is on fire over here telling me, what about this question? What about that story? So we'll get into all of it. It's a Mindful Monday, so Sahara Ali will join us at the top of the second hour to help us set our intentions, do a guided meditation, maybe a little astrology thrown in there, some astrological outlook. All of that is happening every Monday because that's how we start our week. We start our week with focus and intention. And today is not only a mindful Monday, it is also a messy Monday. So you can be mindful of your mess. It's all connected. And we'll be speaking with someone I've never had a chance to talk to, but looking forward to, Zaza Ali. So we've a couple of Alis today. We've got Sahara Ali and Zaza Ali, and mindful and messy, two different kinds of Alis. But we're going to have a great time today. I just feel it. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. And how could it be anything other than that? When we have the president of the Prince fan club joining me first thing. She also happens to be the director of Black Lives Matter Grassroots, lead organizer for BLM LA, professor at Cal State LA, mother of three. This woman got jobs. She's a union leader. Dr. Melina Abdullah. Oh, wait, radio host Saturday mornings. This is not a drill. She's got jobs, but she's not Jamaican. Good morning, Dr. Melina Abdullah.
Good morning, Sister Dominique. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Man, so much going on. So much going on. And a lot of it is good stuff, which is a blessing unto itself. Let's start with Taste of Soul. How do you enjoy your Taste of Soul experience?
Oh, my goodness. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. So many folks, so many beautiful Black folks filling Crenshaw Boulevard. We had a booth there. Black Lives Matter Grassroots Los Angeles had a booth there with UTLA, and we handed out free books, and we handed out information about Yes on 50, and we handed out stickers that said Black Lives Matter Grassroots and talked to people. And it was just really just a beautiful gathering. We needed that for our souls. Taste of Soul did fill our souls this year.
Yeah, and it looked like there were more people than ever. I mean, it was a beautiful, perfect day. For those from out of town, Taste of Soul is like our big Blackety Black festival where I think it's usually between 250,000 and 500,000 people pour out onto Crenshaw Boulevard, and there's all kinds of vendors and food and music and things.
Yeah, I never get to take advantage of the stages. I'm always walking and talking at the booths and talking with people who are just, walking down the street. And so I never get to take advantage of the stages, but I heard there were really great performances. I know when I got there, which was right after our show, a little after 10 a.m., people had already claimed their spots in front of the stages. And I'm going, wait, what is this? A Prince concert? People camped out overnight or something, but they had their own chairs and it claimed spots in front of the stages.
Well, yeah, you know that I spent many years working for a music station. So I was always hosting one of those stages. That's where I got to meet SZA and lots of other people. That's where I first met El DeBarge in live and in person and stuff. So I was always working those stages. So Yay, I'm glad that went well. Sheila Bates talked about it a little bit last week, but let's talk about Wakiesha's law. I really do agree with the philosophy that we have to celebrate our victories. And I understand that you wrote or helped to write that law itself, the actual text.
Yeah, so I don't know. I write, but I don't write laws. But when Karen Bass was in Congress, that's when Wakiesha's family and I talked about Wakiesha's law, that this should never happen to another family. As you know, as KBLA listeners know, Wakiesha Wilson was killed inside LAPD Metro Detention Center on March 27th of 2016. Her family was never notified, and only after 4 days of an excruciating search did her mother receive a phone number, and she was told to call that number. And when she called, the voice on the other end of the line answered coroner's office. And we were really, really clear that nobody should have to ever endure that. Now, I'll be real clear that I know Wakiesha was killed by LAPD inside the Metro Detention Center. This is something, of course, LAPD denies. It's something that the guards union denies, that the guard who likely killed her denies, but it's something that only makes sense because I've been inside that cell, right? I know that the phone booth they're claiming Wakiesha killed herself with, hung herself from, sits only about 2 feet off the ground. I know that that cord is 11 inches long. And when I say I was inside the cell, I was booked inside that detention center.
Oh,
So I
wow.
know what the measurements are. Yeah. And so was Wakiesha's auntie, Sheila Hines, was inside that same detention center. So we know what those cells are like. We know that you can't hang yourself from a phone booth that sits on a wall and then be found in the middle of the cell, right? That makes no sense. But we're not even pushing that, right? We did push that, but it's hard to get the courts to find in favor of the people instead of the police. But regardless, we know that, for instance, in Los Angeles last year, almost 60 people were killed inside jails and detention centers. And Wakiesha's story is not uncommon. Many of those families are not notified of their loved ones'
Yeah.
deaths.
Yeah.
And so, I helped to write language and then present it to then Congresswoman Karen Bass, whose staff I worked on cleaning it up and making it, actually in the right format. And that was introduced as Wakiesha's Law. And that's the language that was adopted by Isaac Bryan with the state law. So after 9.5 years, we've been able to make Wakiesha's Law, which requires that detention centers and jails, as well as prisons, notify families if their loved ones die or are killed or are seriously injured or ill in prisons, detention centers, and jails.
Yeah, and I think it's a big victory. It seems, we said this before, it seems like it should be a no-brainer, but it's not a no-brainer. I've talked to plenty of Black families and other families actually that have not gotten any notification when their loved one was either killed or moved or when they, in and out of custody. So I think it's a big victory, and in the middle of these times when we seem to be taking a lot of L's, it's important for folks to know that there are still wins rolling in, and they are making a difference for families. And of course, I know it means the world to Sheila Hines, who's Wakiesha Wilson's mama, who testified to make that happen. And Lisa Hines, her mama, and Sheila Hines, her auntie, who have been tireless in their advocacy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when we think about this, many times, Bill, so we hope that this gives momentum for the federal law, but we also hope that other states, as we struggle to get Sydney Kamlager's version, which would be the federal law because she has picked it up, as we struggle to get that passed. We also know that other states can pick it up, and think about what this will mean in Mississippi, where all of those hundreds of bodies were found in shallow graves after, being disappeared from communities. What it'll mean in Texas, where they're finding Black bodies in graves behind jails, right? What will this mean? And so we're hopeful that it'll be the case in California, where, as you're saying, many of the families that we work with also say that Wakiesha's story is not unique. They were never informed, and that it'll also gain traction around the country. And then I'll just say this. We also learned that it is the first law in the state of California, for sure, named in honor of a Black woman. And as we did a national search, it seems that it may be the first law in the entire nation. There were no other federal laws, but it also seems that no state has a law in honor of a Black woman, named in honor of a Black woman.
Well, maybe this will change all that. Congratulations on a hard-fought victory. You are invited to call in 800-920-1580. Agree, disagree, or something else. It's all on the table. I'm Dominique DePrima for Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-297-1563 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-297-1563. That's 800-297-1563. What do you have to lose? Call 800-297-1563. Again, 800-297-1563.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the news every day.
Another major healthcare breach was reported today, resulting in the exposure. Now, 1 in 4 consumers have been a victim of identity.
That's because there are endless places that could accidentally expose you to identity theft in a breach or simply by mistake. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Stop settling for weak sound. It's time to level up your game and bring the boom. Hit the town with the ultra-durable LG X Boom portable speaker and enjoy vibrant sound wherever you go. Elevate your listening experience to new heights because, let's be real, your music deserves it. The future of sound is now with LG X Boom. And for a limited time, save 25% at LG.com with code FALL25. Bring the boom. X Boom.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report scams, and update your software. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information and fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your protection today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy place every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
With Civic Tax Relief, they were able to save me upwards of $80,000 that I would have had to pay had I not reached out to them.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies.
I owe the IRS $37,000.
They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS. By the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-285-3500, 800-285-3500. Don't wait. Call now. 800-285-3500, 800-285-3500.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, you know I don't like that drop because I just think it's presumptuous to say your favorite morning show host. What if I'm not your favorite morning show host? Like, what if you rather listen to Howard Stern or Steve Harvey or something? Like, I feel for you if that's true, but still. Anyway, hi, Dr. Melina Abdullah. She is our guest today, and you were also at the No Kings. You did a double header.
Man, Saturday was packed. So yeah, we had the radio show 8 to 10, then Taste the Soul. Then we went over to No Kings, which was a massive crowd downtown, upwards of, I would say, at least 50,000 folks downtown. And really, really appreciative of the ways in which organizers are moving. Some people will remember that the first gathering, first No Kings parade, had permits. Police were called in, and we wound up having to talk to the organizers. And this is why I believe in talking where you can, right? Don't immediately burn a bridge. Now, you know, I like a well-burned bridge, but it has to be a well-earned burned bridge, right?
Right.
And so we had conversations with those organizers, because when police came in, what they did is brutalize and really try to intimidate Black vendors and Black demonstrators especially. And so we had conversations with them. And now on Saturday, the organizer, the MC for the march, was proudly saying, and we don't ask police for permission to protest them. We don't get permits for our marches. So it was great. It was great. They're really evolving.
They got the message, huh?
They got the message. Yeah, we had several conversations, and that's how we build. And so, you know, we were there. We made our point like No Kings, but also beyond dethroning Donald Trump, beyond removing the regime, which was the theme for LA's No Kings March, remove the regime. Beyond that, what is it that we want? And I think that having that vision is essential, because as you know, Dominique, after the No Kings March, which was a march, it wasn't just a parade in Los Angeles. So we gathered, but then marched, right? And they marched. I went back to Taste the Soul. But as they started moving, LAPD was called in, and we know that demonstrators in Los Angeles were brutally attacked by LAPD, who tear gassed them, who threatened them with arrest. Several protesters were brutalized. And we know it's not just about removing the Trump regime, but also about demanding something better for our people.
Yeah. That's what I saw someone, an influencer, I don't know her, on Instagram saying that the No Kings marches are like op marches because they don't have any demands. And that wasn't, it was an interesting point, but I feel like they want the end of the regime. That's a demand. Maybe it's too broad, but it is a demand, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's be serious. No kings is not a revolutionary statement. And, well, removing the regime is kind of the definition of revolution, but these are not revolutionaries. They're not revolutionaries, right? No kings, people who attend No Kings are regular people who go, wait, this is too far. This is too far. And some go all the way down the road with me, right? But some are just folks who are saying, I don't want a blatant fascist in office. And there's value to that, right?
Yeah.
So the reason, right. And the reason Black Lives Matter Grassroots comes out to No Kings marches is because when you have a massive crowd of people, you do have a chance to turn them out. And so, when I spoke, I didn't speak in the same way that the elected officials who spoke, other than Brandon Johnson in Chicago. I feel like there's something wrong with me for loving a mayor as much as I'm loving Brandon Johnson right now. But I got to say, if you're going to say abolish ICE, you got to say abolish the police. And this is what we mean and why we mean it. And some of those folks who marched got to learn real quickly that LAPD is not the alternative to the National Guard, because they caught that tear gas and those rubber bullets yesterday or Saturday as well. And so No Kings, Amanda Seales talked about, it's a rally, not a protest. Yeah, but it has the potential to breed protesters and to breed revolutionaries and to really implant seeds that are more radical than just let's get out. And it's a place.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm talking to. No, like the last thing I'll say is I talked to my mama, who's in the Bay Area, who's my litmus test for regular people, regular Black people, right? And when I talked to my mama, she went to the one in Richmond, California, and she said, "Oh, girl, it was live." And
yeah.
Well,
yeah, I was just going to say that it's not,
yeah.
I understand your revolutionary aspirations. I love Amanda Seales. She's on some militant stuff, and I know you are too. But here's the thing. People need to see other people resisting right now, whether it's militant,
That's
medium
right.
Militant, liberal, I don't care about nothing but getting rid of Trump, whatever your motivation. People need to see other people hitting the streets. They need to know they're not alone. They need to know that they can be emboldened to resistance, just like these fools are being emboldened to fascism and white supremacy, And so I think that even if it was a rally, rallies are good things. Rallies are not bad things. It's not, it wasn't a cheerleader rally, which isn't a bad thing if you're a cheerleader, but I'm just talking politically. Rally is underrated. Rally, what does rally mean? You rally people's spirits so that they're ready to go do something. And so many folks are paralyzed and afraid that rallying, I think it's underrated at this moment in time.
I think that's absolutely right. And people were uplifting demands, right? I asked my mama to send signs of her, pictures of her signs. And she was like, you know what we need? We need to make sure that we say, stop arming Israel and teach our children the truth and all of these things. So I do appreciate that people were coming up with their own demands.
Yeah.
And that's what a big kind of tent rally does. And then you funnel it into more permanent protests.
800-920-1580. That is the number. Dr. Melina Abdullah is here. I'm Dominique DePrima. We got news, traffic, and sports, then more, only right here.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Trial begins today for ex-Illinois Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson, charged with murdering Sonia Massey after she called 911.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. God, I swear to God, I'll shoot your face. Okay,
Massey was shot in her kitchen, sparking national outrage over race and mental health. Police say 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres was killed last fall and hidden in her family's basement before her body was found in a plastic bin behind an abandoned Connecticut home. She was never reported missing. Her mother, aunt, and mother's boyfriend now face murder and abuse charges. And Turkey Leg Hut's bankruptcy in Houston, Texas ends with over $6.5 million in debt wiped and no assets to repay creditors. Co-founder Nakia Holmes also faced felony charges that same day. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams reminded everybody that they are a legitimate contender in the NFC. They went over to London and delivered a 35-7 beatdown over Jacksonville Sunday morning. 5 touchdown passes for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford, 3 to wide receiver Devontae Adams. The Rams are 5-2. They're in the first place tied with San Francisco in the NFC West. The Chargers forgot to bring their defense to SoFi Stadium. They lost to Indianapolis 34-24. The 4-3 Chargers gave up 401 yards in total offense. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor had 3 rushing touchdowns. The Dodgers still don't know who they're going to play in the World Series. Seattle and Toronto will meet up for a decisive Game 7 tonight in the American League Championship Series. Toronto won Game 6 last night 6-2. First pitch tonight at 5 o'clock on Fox Sports. The World Series starts on Friday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Established in 2020 during a time of deep racial unrest across our state and country, the Black Freedom Fund was created to make sure that leaders and organizations working to support Black communities and build power have the resources they need to stay in the fight for the long haul. We believe that those closest to the issues impacting our communities know best how to solve them. That's why in just the last 5 years, we've granted more than $45 million to over 200 grassroots organizations across California. That is the largest collective investment in Black organizing in history, and we're just getting started. We are clear-eyed and committed, more now than ever, to our people, our power, and our possibility. Join us in creating a future where Black people harness their full power to shape their lives and realize a just world for all. Learn more at fundblackfreedom.org. That's fundblackfreedom.org. The Black Freedom Fund is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at kbla1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to kbla1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, Dr. Melina Abdullah is here, and we got a bunch of stuff to cover. But I have to. One more thing about the No Kings. It's obviously annoying the crap out of the president, and there's a lot to be said for that. He posted a picture or an AI thing of himself with a crown dumping loads of poop on the protesters. And apparently J.D. Vance posted some similar thing, a picture of Trump in a crown with Democrats supplicating to him. I did see that one. So clearly it's getting under their skin.
Well, the petty in me loves it. Let's keep doing it then. Let's keep doing it if it gets under his skin. His decrepit, rotting skin. But let's keep getting under that skin.
Yeah, Robin says we were at the No Kings rally in Vallejo, California. Robin in our KBLA YouTube chat. Okay, so much to cover. We have the Left Coast Forum coming up on Saturday. You and I are on a panel together, I believe. I think we're on a panel together, and then I'm hosting the LGBTQ panel with Dr. Nicor Corte. That's at Trade Tech on Saturday all day.
Yeah, I think Baba Keeley's going to be on with you, actually. And then Black Lives Matter, Los Angeles, Black Lives Matter Grassroots will have a booth there. Left Coast Forum is going to be lit. And this is where you can kind of really get seated with some revolutionary and radical ideas. Of course, never miss a chance to go hear Dr. West speak. Richard Wolff is speaking, but lots of the folks who are doing the actual work of both thinking about and conceptualizing what revolution looks like, but doing the work to usher in the world that we all want, need, and deserve will be there. So Left Coast Forum is where we go to get real serious about how we transform the world, not just tinker around the edges. And that's my criticism of No Kings, but I also think it's a good thing.
I mean, and also the thing about Left Coast Forum I was going to say is it's free.
It's free.
You can't beat that. You have to register at KBLA 1580. You'll see the link there. But the whole thing is free. So, and there's food and there's going to be music. So it's it'll be a great time. We need more of that, as you pointed out, with Taste of Soul. The middle of the week brings us 1022 or 022. Explain what that is and what's taking place.
Sure. 022 is the National Day Against Police Brutality. And we've been lifting up police brutality and why it has to end, how commonplace it is in the world, but also the power that the people have to end police brutality. So 022 is something that here in Los Angeles we'll be organizing around. It's on a Wednesday, and we know it goes up on a Wednesday. So the club might go up on a Tuesday, but the protest goes up on a Wednesday. So we're going to be with LACAN, Los Angeles Community Action Network, at 022, and we're starting at Skid Row, and we'll be engaged in a real march, right? So meet at 4:30 at 838 East 6th Street. We'll be with our folks from LA Community Action Network, Stop LAPD Spying, White People for Black Lives, Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, and many of the families of those who've been killed by police. And these 022 demonstrations take place all around the country. So I know our chapters in Atlanta, in Memphis, I'll be in Memphis actually, in Boise and Birmingham, and all over the country are engaging in 022 rallies, as are many organizations who understand how dangerous policing have become in this country. And I say become to be nice, but policing was birthed as a violent institution with their guns trained on the backs of Black people. Police indisputably devolved from slave catching, right? That's where policing comes from. That's not arguable. Any scholar will tell you that that's where they come from. And so 022 is about recognizing that history and saying, really, there is no redemption for policing that are the descendants of slave catchers. We do want public safety. We don't want new millennial slave catchers roaming our streets and terrorizing our communities.
Yeah, this has been going on for a long time. I mean, well, policing, but I wasn't referring to that. I was talking about the 022. These protests have been going on since the 90s at least, right?
Yeah. So it started in the 90s. And LA has been one of the primary places where we protest. But 1996 was the first year that it was done, part of kind of the organizing work out of Chicago, but has spread in Los Angeles is probably the first or second largest site of 022 protests in the country.
Yeah, just a little point on your thing about your initial statement that how policing has become dangerous, and then you kind of put it in context of saying it's always been dangerous. But I think the become is also warranted in the fact that now we have drones and AI and robot dogs and facial recognition technology that gives so many more ways for law enforcement to invade your privacy and decide that you're guilty of something that they can be judge, juror, and cop for. So I think it's true that it's always been dangerous, and I also think it's true that it's becoming more dangerous.
And that law enforcement or policing, because I said I was going to stop using the term law enforcement, policing is being used increasingly to be an assault, an affront, a threat, and a terror against protest. You know, when we think about what's happening, ICE is part of policing. The National Guard is part of policing. But local law enforcement is also complicit in how policing is carried out. And so we have to look at policing as really repressive, a repressive force in this country that's now being used to put down any sign of dissent. And so 022 this year is more important than ever.
Yeah. Why are you going to stop saying law enforcement? I'm sure there's a theory behind this.
Well, what laws are they enforcing, right? When you talk about ICE snatching babies from mama's arms and, you know, wrestling mothers to the ground as they drop their children off at school, that's not law enforcement. That's law breaking. And it's not that I only believe in the rule of law, but if you believe at least in the rule of law, the police are breaking the law when they put guns and you know, kill Black people. That's breaking the law. That's not law enforcement. And so I want to stop using untrue terms. That it's policing, it's not law enforcement.
I knew that she would break it down for you, why she saw it, how she saw it. So we've got Wednesday, 022. We've got Saturday, we've got the Left Coast Forum, which is a teamwork between the LA Progressive and KBLA 1580 and a bunch of other supporters, including UTLA and Black Lives Matter. But there's yet another opportunity to hit these streets. That's taking place Friday. We'll talk about that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. Donald Trump has all but declared war on California, sending in a National Guard, blocking disaster relief, and cutting funds to our colleges. And now, he and Texas Republicans are trying to rig the next election by stealing congressional seats from Black voters in states like Texas.
They want to rig these elections, and they want the power that gerrymandering provides.
Seriously, look it up. But Prop 50 is how we fight back. It gives Californians the power to fight fire with fire and beat Trump at his own game. Prop 50 creates temporary emergency congressional maps that level the playing field and protect the power of Black votes. Not just in California, but across the country. Your vote matters, and the whole country is counting on California to lead. So use your vote to protect our power, our history, and our future. Vote yes on Prop 50 by November 4. Ad paid for by Yes on 50, the Election Rigging Response Act, Governor Newsom's Ballot Measure Committee, Ad Committee's top funders, HMP for Prop 50, and Fund for Policy Reform.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement. Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
And so what is happening on Friday, Dr. Melina Abdullah? I'm reading now, of course, that the president is insisting that the ceasefire is holding, even though I'm reading reports of, clashes and Israel, stepping up their attacks once again. The president says that rebels staged an attack on IDF troops. He says it wasn't Hamas, which is the same thing Hamas says. And then Israel is blaming Hamas for the attack, and they're saying they're attacking. And it just looks like from what I'm reading that the ceasefire, even from day one, wasn't really holding because Israel continued to attack in certain places. And then they claimed they were going to open Rafah, and they didn't. So what is happening Friday?
Yeah. So I was, we had our union assembly this weekend as well, and I'm part of our Palestinian, Arab, and Muslim caucus. We have several Palestinian faculty members who are part of that caucus who give us, we know these are accurate reports because they're getting them from Palestine, that there were several attacks, dozens of people, I think 70 killed in one attack over the last week. But the ceasefire is not holding. And one of the things that Alam and Rabab, who are two of our Palestinian leaders, keep saying is, let's not pretend like the genocide is over. There have been many ceasefires, and that has not stopped the genocide in Palestine. So we have to remember that. We have to also remember that the United States is arming Israel. The U.S. is arming Israel. And so labor is stepping up, and we're grateful to, one of my favorite people on this earth is a brother named Chris Smalls, who's, just a regular person who founded the Amazon Labor Union when he saw the conditions during the pandemic. He was managing a warehouse in Staten Island, New York, and the conditions killed some of his co-workers. And so he founded the Amazon Labor Union. He's a regular Black man who beat the richest white man in the world, Jeff Bezos, in founding the Amazon Labor Union. And I think it's phenomenal. And he's been really instrumental in pushing labor to be 10 toes down for the Palestinian people. So on Friday, several of us who are union organizers, several is too small, hundreds of us who are union organizers are going to Washington, D.C. And at noon, we're going to be in front of the AFL-CIO headquarters, demanding that labor stop shipping arms to Israel. And we see this happening all around the world. We see Italy rising up and engaging in general strike, several European nations using labor to really be a force against genocide. And here in the United States, we want to make sure that our labor community stands up and says, no, I'm not loading these ships full of weapons meant to arm Israel so that they can commit genocide. We will not be complicit. And so that's what we're doing. And we're inviting all union folks to step up. But there's also a petition that I'll share at BLM Grassroots that encourages people to sign on and encourages labor to step up as much as it can to stop the genocide in Palestine.
That's blmgrassroots.org. They can find it, the petition.
Yeah, and on social media, which is BLM Grassroots on all social media.
And so this is at the AFL-CIO headquarters in D.C.?
Yeah, so that's where we'll be in D.C., standing there, you know, demanding that organized labor. And I really do believe, Dominique, that organized labor is one of the primary forces against fascism, against the genocide, but against all of this, right? That when you see the role of labor, right, it's where you have the most folks who have a working class identity, and it also has some resources, right? Because we pay those union dues. And so those union dues can be used to really thwart the fascism and the, you know, the genocidal tendencies of the fascist regime.
I mean, I think that's true although, you know, what we saw in this last election was the white supremacist streak within labor raising its ugly head. And we had a significant number of union members supporting this regime. I hope they're suffering from FAFO and they'll make a different choice, but I don't know, you know.
Right. Well, so in CFA, we're part of SEIU. I'm very proud of SEIU, which is, you know, one of the largest collection of labor unions. And it's, you know, David Huerta is part of SEIU. He's an SEIU leader. So there's a minor group that are with the fascists, but the vast majority of labor is against fascism, fighting for Yes on 50, right? The anti-gerrymandering bill, our proposition that we have moving in California, fighting for many of our unions. My union in particular defines ourselves as a racial and social justice union. So pushing really important legislation, but also empowering working class people.
Molly Bell in the chat says, vote yes on Prop 50. Do it now. The Republicans aren't swearing in elected officials. If this system gets away with voting rights, big trouble. Listen, God is trying to tell us something. Brandy Kane in the chat says no on 50. Why are you yes on 50?
Well, yes on 50, again, is an anti-gerrymandering bill. And I know that there's people who want to say anything that the Democrats do is bad. Dominique, you know I'm not even a Democrat. I am not a fan of Gavin Newsom. I'm not a fan of, and when I say I'm not a Democrat, it means I'm not a Republican either. I don't believe in corporate-owned parties, so I'm not a part of either one of them, right? But I'm not just going to take a contrarian position to be contrarian. Yes on 50 means that we are pushing back against Trump's plan to gerrymander the United States. So we know he gave a directive to redistrict the most progressive lawmakers out of their seats. I don't even believe revolution happens from government, but we do need a Jasmine Crockett in there. We do need, hopefully Cori Bush will re-win her seat. We can't afford to have that be gerrymandered. And so California has an opportunity as a deep blue state to really pick up some of the seats that are going to be lost as a result of Trump's gerrymandering. For Black people in particular, we should know that when we say a fascist regime, what Trump is trying to do is take us back to Voting Rights Act. I never thought, my mother said this, we never thought we'd have to fight for the Voting Rights Act, which was passed in 1965. But that's what we're fighting for, is to push back against targeted minority vote dilution. They are trying to minimize the power of the Black vote, minimize the power of progressive voters. And so California has the opportunity to say, we're going to provide a counterbalance and we're going to advance our power. And it leaves the power in the hands of the people, because this is a temporary stopgap measure that doesn't mean that we won't go back to regular redistricting processes when that comes in 10 years.
I mean, and here's what I just wrote in the chat, because Brandy, I asked her why she was against 50, and she says, I ain't a Democrat. I voted for Melina Abdullah, actually. And what I'm saying is they're gerrymandering away Black districts. It's not just about Democrats and Republicans. That's how it's being framed by the governor and the Democrats in the state, of course. But the reality is, for me, there's this huge racial component. And when you look at Texas and these other places that we're trying to counterbalance, they're targeting Black districts. They're targeting, the Jasmine Crockett's in Congress, and trying to make it where they can't get reelected just based on the way the maps are drawn, not based on their policies or anything else.
Right. Well, we have to remember there is no Black congressional district that is under threat through Prop 50. We only have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Black districts in the entire state of California. None of them are at risk through Prop 50. So that's clear. And Brandy, thank you for your vote and your support. You know, I'm not a Democrat either. But that means that it doesn't mean that sometimes our interests don't align. So as we always talked about, we are free Black people. As a free Black woman, I'm saying that it's really important that we do this so that we fight back against their gerrymandering. So I don't agree with everything the Democrats do, but yes, on 50 is
understatement of the day.
Imperative. Right.
Understatement of the day, Doc. Michael says what's happening with SCOTUS right now makes Prop 50 even more vital. I hope people fully understand it. I wasn't saying they were going to take away districts in California. What I was saying is that we're counterbalancing. We're trying to counterbalance. We're trying to make up for what they're doing. They're shrinking Black districts and getting rid of Black districts because it's part of the plan to keep Republicans in power, to keep conservatives, fascist, white supremacists in power. So it's not just about Dems and Republicans. That's all I was trying to say.
That's right. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. I'm just speaking to Brandy's point about Black districts being under threat. Yes, on 50 actually protects Black districts in California. So there's no Black district that is under threat with the passage of Prop 50. We're helping to, like you say, counterbalance their attempts to gerrymander Black districts in other states.
Yep. Okay, 30 seconds, Dr. Abdullah, the socials or whatever you want to say.
Sure. So we need everybody in the streets, right? People who were out there for No Kings, turn your parade into a protest by joining us on 022 Wednesday, 4:30 at LA Can, 838 East 6th Street. And my message at No Kings was we have to do more than this. We have to organize. We'd love to have you in Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. You can follow BLM Los Angeles on Instagram or BLM LA on X or BLM Grassroots for what we're doing all around the country. And BLMgrassroots.org is our website.
Well, thank you for starting out your Monday with me. I appreciate you, Dr. Melina Abdullah, and thanks for all the great work you're doing.
Thank you, Sister Dominique. Appreciate you.
Sahara Ali is next. Let's get ourselves centered. Let's get our intentions together. We're going to have a great week. KBLA Talk 1580.
LA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Trial begins today for ex-Illinois Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson, charged with murdering Sonia Massey after she called 911.